Hello again, everyone. Today is yet another episode of me talking about how production on season 2 is going. As you guys already know, I have already shot everything. Like, I have all the raw footage. I've gone over it a couple of times now. And I'm starting to work on where I'm going to cut the episodes and things like that. But there's still quite a few other things that I want to get done first. Um, I have a brand new logo that I mentioned last time. I will probably show it to you guys once I have a few more of the other things completed. I'm going to be creating a trailer for season 2 that I haven't gotten I haven't had the ability to focus on yet. And I'm also going to be creating a brand new intro that will play at the beginning of every episode, just to give it a little bit more, robust feeling, because it really is a rather large step beyond what season 1 was. So today what I wanted to talk about is some of the behind the scenes stuff that you guys probably don't know about, um, but is actually really important to me. D&D High, the idea of it came after I was watching the Acquisitions Incorporated live D&D games that Penny Arcade does. And I love them. I thought they were the coolest thing in the world. But one of the things that I saw time and time again in the comment section was, why don't you guys do this more often? I wish this happened more than once a year. And I understand why they don't do it more often, because everyone involved is super busy. Jerry and Mike run Penny Arcade, and they have a comic that they put out 3 times a week, in addition to a billion other things. Will Wheaton has tabletop and a quadrillion other things. He runs the internet now. And Scott Kurtz has 2 different comics that he produces. I think in combination, I think he releases a comic 5 days a week, whether it's PvP or Table Titans, in addition to everything else that he does. So, I mean, they're all really, really busy. So I understand why they don't do it more, but I thought, you know what? I would love to be able to do something like that. And so I made the decision. I'm like, no, I'm going to do it on my own. I'm going to find people that are creative. They don't have to really know anything about D&D. They just need to be creative, and that's where it went. What it eventually turned into is, and I'm going to try and show you this because I'm actually really, really proud of this, but the light might make it kind of hard to see. So I'm going to turn it. Okay. So that's it right there. I have to do it at an angle because the light makes it impossible to see. But this is the actual script adventure write-up for the first season of D&D High. And right over here, that is Scott Kurt's autograph. And over here, this is Chris Perkins' autograph. I'm still working on getting Will Wheaton and Jerry and Mike, but I hope to get all of their autographs on this eventually. So yeah, this is what D&D High turned into. And it's, as you guys can see, it's actually fairly long, and it's got some printed stuff. It's got some handwritten stuff in it. It's got my monster stat blocks. I custom made all the monsters in season 1 were completely 100% custom made. I didn't take them out of any monster manual. It's something I built them myself. And so what I did was I tried to come up with an idea that hadn't been done before, and I hadn't really seen anyone do this idea of Dungeons and Dragons high school. And I thought it was funny. Like, the first time I thought of it, I giggled a little bit. I'm like, well, that could be fun. And it could go on for a while. And I thought, you know what, let's give it a shot. And so I started writing. I started trying to figure out what would happen. And I was a huge outcast of society in high school. And that's what I know the most. And so that's what I wrote. I wrote, the main characters are outcasts and the bad guys are the cool kids. Which was fairly typical of how my life went when I was that young. And I just started writing, and the initial writing process took about 4 months for me to write the first draft that wasn't this, but to write the first draft of the script and the adventure and build the monsters and that. And then I play tested it. I think I play tested about 6 times with my my D&D group that I meet with on Wednesdays. Our DM couldn't make it a night, and I said, hey guys, do you mind if I run this? It's a one-shot adventure. I explained the whole thing to them, and they were fantastic. I had a guy who's normally a dungeon master. He played a character for me. It was fantastic. Gave me a lot of fantastic feedback, and that's what turned into this. And then the last thing that I did was I went and I'd done it so many times, and everyone in the cast had to audition, and they had to audition by playing the game. And so everyone in the cast had played the game before, and I didn't want them to come to the filming already knowing what was going to happen. I didn't like that. I didn't think it'd be very good. And so what I did is I added the part with the deck of many things. That was something that I came up with probably about 2 months before we started filming, and that was in August of that year. And yeah, I actually went, it's hard to see because, again, the glare is going to kill it. But I actually wrote out every single card you can pull from the deck of many things. This is really hard. Well, here, I'll show it to you this way. Every single card from the deck of many things has an explanation of what's supposed to happen. So they literally, it wasn't rigged, it wasn't, they had to pick a certain card or I would make them repick or something. Every single card in there has something, and I could probably run this, 22 times and have it be different 22 separate times. And there's certain things that would be similar, but a large portion of the venture would be 100% brand spanking new. And yeah, and so we finally got to the point where I got all my actors together, and I found a time that would work, and then we shot, season 1 we shot at 8 a.m. It was when we started shooting in my apartment right behind me. If you guys can't see it, the table that we use is actually right back there. And it was intense. Everyone was really, really tired. I went and bought a bunch of food and caffeine products and anything I could do to keep these guys awake, and I tried to keep them up. But it was grueling. It was somewhere between 5 to 6 hours of shooting. And at the end, I was really, really proud of what we created. Now, fast forward, I started releasing it, and I started getting feedback that I was originally doing it in 20-minute episodes, and people didn't like that. It was too long, which I'm hoping to keep this under 20 minutes. And so I cut it down to about, anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes, and that format seemed to work. And I started noticing I had to do a lot of post-production on every single episode because the camera doesn't pick up light very well, and so it was really poor lighting, and we actually lost one of the cameras in the middle of shooting because it ran out of power. And so I lost about 45 minutes worth of footage off of one of my cameras. Luckily, I was shooting it at 2 different angles, and that's why the angle jumped so rapidly. My original thought was I would cut between the 2 angles depending on where the action was, and that just never panned out because I don't have the technology to do that. That my cameras weren't that good. So that's yeah. So I started going through season 1, and I started noticing the good things and the bad things. And while that was happening, I'd already started planning season 2. I'd already started writing it. Season 2 actually took a lot longer to write because I was releasing season 1 while I was writing season 2. And yeah, it got all the way to the point where we were going to film in December because Kara, the girl that played Leslie, was going to be back in the States at that specific point. She couldn't make it. I pushed the filming off until I think it was February, and she wasn't able to come back to the country, and so we, as I mentioned in the video before, we had to replace her with a different character, and we have something in the story to explain why that was. And yeah, it turned out fantastic. All the things that I learned about pacing and what needed to happen to keep it entertaining and everything, I put that into season 2, and I was lucky enough that the actors just took off and had an absolute blast doing it. So yeah, now, like I said, I'm building. I built the logo myself, which is impressive, seeing as I have no visual artistic ability. My artistic ability relies entirely on music. Like that's what I do. I'll write music, and that's fine, but I can't draw. It's bad. So I was really proud of the. I still am. I'm still really, really proud of the logo. It's got. We have a coat of arms. We have a motto in Latin for the school now. It's really cool. I may make T-shirts and mugs and stuff like that with it on, just because I think it's cool. And yeah, now I'm working on all those other things. I found some music for the intro and all that other stuff. So yes, I realize this has been me rambling a lot, but I wanted you guys to kind of get an idea of what had happened to turn this into what it is. Like I said, I learned a lot of stuff from season 1. Season 2 will be absolutely amazing. I know I keep putting it off, and that's simply because I still have some other big events that I'm hoping to do. I'm still planning on doing a hangout where you guys can actually get to meet the cast and talk to them and have some questions with them. I'm still planning on doing at least one other show that I'm talking with someone who will remain nameless right now. So I can talk about it and mention it to a whole different fan base and hopefully bring in some new eyes. And yeah, I really want this to be a high quality product. So yeah, that is the behind the scenes look at D&D High. I may do another one of these mid-season too, just to kind of give you an idea of how the shooting and everything went and some of the fun stuff that we did that did make it on camera. And maybe have some, I actually have blooper reels from season 2. We didn't really have any blooper reels from season 1 because we were still very new, and there's nothing scripted. Season 2, there was a lot more that I can't actually use in this show that's going to end up on the cutting room floor. So I might release that to you guys too, but after the season's aired. So yeah, again, this is a little bit long. I didn't want it to be, so I'm going to cut it off now. If you guys have any questions about D&D High Season 2, behind the scenes stuff about Season 1, put it in the comments below. Let me know what you guys thought. If you guys have any observations about Season 1, things you liked, things you didn't like, let me know. I'm constantly revamping and changing. Season 2 is so much better than Season 1, it will leave it in the dust. Season 3 is going to be so far beyond Season 2 that you guys will be blown away because I'm going to keep learning, I'm going to keep trying. But all of that happens because of the amazing fans that we have that watch it and tune in and make sure that, and mention the things they like and the things that they don't like. So, yeah, again, that's all for me. Next week, there'll be another training day. All right, so bye-bye, everybody.